Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bracket Packet Q&A, April 23rd edition. Maybe the first, well, definitely the first, maybe the only one that's available on YouTube and Twitter. The rest of them will be on the YouTube moving forward. But, oh, I hear myself, Tara. Uh, and that is my fault because I have the video up. So that's on me. But we're very excited to have everybody here, and we're going to try to answer all of your questions about seedings, hosting. Send in your questions. Gray Robertson, Tara Henry. Hi, Tara. While I
Good
resolve
morning.
what's going on my end, you talk real quick because I hear myself way too much.
Oh my goodness, good morning. It could be my mic. So if it is my mic, Gray, you're just going to have to let me know. I don't think that it is. But
Nope,
good
it's
morning,
me. I got it done.
Okay, good. Good morning, everybody. So happy that we could do this again. And hopefully, just heading into season, we'll be able to just hang out on Mondays and Wednesdays. And like Gray said, we'll do some bracketing, bracket packet uh, breakdowns. And now that I've got actual packet, I'm going to probably be able to put it on the site next week. So everybody will actually be able to print it out and we can just have, a bracket packet class together. So good morning. Oh, we already got people saying good morning. Hi, Fang. Nicholas, good morning.
Yeah, let's flash the chat. Fang Nai, hello again. Tara and Gray. Yes, hi. We're here. Second time this week. Whoop whoop. Kayla. Nick Tarina. Hello, kiddos. What's up, Nick? Rust Croc. Hello. And Jeremy Scott in the chat dropping a roll tide. The question's already coming in hot and heavy, so I'm ready to rumble. So we've got two different bracketologies that we're going to talk about. Brady posted his yesterday morning.
Yep.
I updated the bracket packet this morning, and this is how this goes. I was shocked at how many shifts there were, even after one little midweek. So, where do you want to start, Tara? Do you want me to read my list? Do you want to read
Why don't
Brady's?
we go? I think we should go through each seed and then we can kind of compare, right? I know I've got Brady's bracketology that is up on the site. So those of you that were able to read it yesterday, I've got Brady's going as well. So we can take a look at those top 16 seeds, starting with the number one. I guess we could just start at number one.
Yeah, who does Brady have, Tara?
Texas A&M in the number one
Me too.
spot.
Me too. I think this one is pretty easy. A lot of those top 25 wins, top 10 non-con SOS and overall SOS. This one feels pretty cut and dry. And honestly, this felt like the most secure pick for me of all the 16.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think you could argue that Texas A&M is just playing some pretty good ball too right now. So I think the only thing that could potentially mix that up is maybe towards the end of the season here, a scuffle, but I just don't see that happening.
That would surprise me.
Yeah,
Number two?
Number two, Brady's got Texas, the Longhorns. What do you got, Gray?
I also have Texas.
Wow, it's like wow. 2 for 2.
This is not going to be a fun pod if we keep agreeing.
I think it gets to a point where we don't. But let us know what you guys have for your picks in the chat if you are with us. I see the chats going, hey, good morning, Jordan. Marty. Good morning, Marty. It was great to hear Gray on Chris Plank's show last week. Very entertaining. Love it.
Thanks, Marty. Plank's a friend. Texas. It's the 5 top 10 wins. It's the 14 top 25 wins. And we always talk about that threshold. You want to get to 10 top 25 wins. Texas has now reached 20 top 50 wins, which is another thing that the committee has historically liked. And I'm kind of weaning away from, I think they're going to punish people for non-conference strength of schedules this year, just because the teams who would be punishable are kind of racking up the high-end wins. So I think Texas as the number 2 overall seed right now.
So, and I'm going to put in the chat a link to Brady's bracket on the site. And then next week, we'll also be able to get a link or a PDF download of Gray's bracket packet. I know we're getting fancy here. So link is over on YouTube if you want to check out the bracketology link, and then we'll get Gray's printed out. I've got it here as well, so I think it's actually going to be a really fun exercise and hopefully a little bit engaging. So yeah, Texas in that 2 spot. There's a couple, Marion, hey, there's a couple questions in the chat that we can probably take a look at, but we'll keep going here.
Yeah, I see. I want to hold on the 2 seed conversation because that would be a spoiler for the rest of the list. So we're going to hold on that. Ohio State, they're not in the bracket packet, unfortunately. So had to make some cuts. We're getting to that time. They're not going to be 30 teams in contention to host once we get to Selection Sunday. So Ohio State was out of the bracket packet. No.
There's not going to be 30? Okay.
No. Usually it's like maybe 18 for 16. Maybe. Yeah. Number 3, I've got Florida. What does Brady have?
Brady's got Florida. We're 3 for 3.
Wow, Brady.
Like, do you guys talk or something?
No, not until our lists are done. So I haven't texted him about it this week because I know he's on. Where is he? Disneyland? He's somewhere.
But please believe he's still working. He's in Florida. He's having
fun. Florida, speaking of, 4 top 10 wins, 12 top 25 wins, 19 top 50. Number 2 in the SOS. That was the big one for me. And no real bad losses. Gators number 3. This is seeming a little too easy, Tara. The drama's got to come at some point.
It's on its way. I'm also going to put, so just for those of you that are with us, I'm going to put the nitty gritty link in the chat as well, because I think this is something that a lot of people don't realize is available, right? And it's the NCAA nitty gritties, and it gives you an idea. When Gray and I are talking about these things, or Gray's saying, oh, they've got this many top 25 wins, you can find it all here in that nitty gritty report. So just for you all to have and bookmark, and something that we can go through each week, and you can see who enters the top 25 or enters the top 50, because I know that was important this week, Gray, and we'll get to that.
I'm just Nick Torina cracks me up. Oh, man. Number 4, who does Brady have?
Number 4, Brady has the Tennessee Lady Vols.
Ooh, okay. I have South Carolina. So this is the first big differential in our interesting Tennessee that high. That's okay. What now, again, we will point out this was done before the loss last night to Clemson for Brady. I had Tennessee at 5 on Out of the Box this week. But that's interesting.
Yeah, so 6 and 7 now, I guess, or 6 and 6 on RPI, one first tier for the Lady Vols. Is that correct, Gray?
I've got 5 and 5 against the top 10, 13 and 10 against the top 25.
Okay, 13 and 10 against the top 25. I'm looking at RPI that I've got on the nitty gritty site. But on the nitty gritty site, in terms of RPI, Tennessee's at 13. So it'd be interesting to see what is going to be weighted heavily here. Look at this.
Yeah. What's up? Let me talk through it.
Gray's getting red.
I'm not. Well, look. It's been a minute, so let's rock and roll. South Carolina at 4. Here's my reasoning. Number 3 overall strength of schedule. Check. Number 11 non-con SOS. Check. 3 top 10 wins against the RPI. Check. Again, you have to keep in mind, everybody, they don't care if you're 3 and 6, 3 and 0, 3 and 9. It's really the wins that the committee has gone after and really focused on over the years. 13 top 25 wins, and they hit that 20 in top 50. So, and Brandon, I see your point. Here's the other thing. The committee does not give a darn about conference standings or anything like that. Trust me, we learned that in 2019 the hard way with the Alabama Crimson Tide. They don't care about conference championships in the regular season. They will give a bump for tournaments every now and then, but standings are, frankly, whatever to the committee. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm not on the committee. If I were, then we would have a lot of fun, let me tell you.
I know. Maybe they'll let Gray and I onto the committee. I'll bring the fun for sure.
Yeah, the South Carolina resume is: I'll bring the stats, you bring the fun. Someone will bring the coffee. Coach Pink at Iowa State, is he still on the committee?
Let's see what the committee is. I know Christy Breadbinner was on it too,
from
Wichita State. It's difficult, you guys. Like I know that we give the committee a tough time every year, but I just want to say it's not an easy task, especially when you have to factor in obviously the travel as well. So I do want to give props to the committee because it isn't easy, and obviously no one's going to ever be happy on the whole thing. But we're now at number 4 for those of you that are just tuning in, and Gray had South Carolina, and Brady had Tennessee. Brady has South Carolina at number 7.
Oh, interesting. It's a little lower than I would have expected.
Yeah. Well, I
But
think we're going to see here in the next couple. They've obviously got a big series this weekend against Auburn. So,
yeah. Number 5, who does Brady have?
Florida State.
All right, Fang, you ready? I have Oklahoma. And this is kind of going along with what I was talking about with Texas. I'm a little bit. I'm just kind of getting away from the idea that teams are going to get quote unquote punished for non-conference strength of schedules this year, just because the strengths of those profiles are really good. And OU's got 7 RPI top 10 wins. That's the most of anybody in the mix. I think they're going to get rewarded over that more than anything else. The committee has shown time and time again. Thank you, Nick. Time and time again that the quality wins are what they value. And Oklahoma doesn't have any bad losses either. So it's a solid profile. There's the one gigantic red mark of that 187 non-con SOS. But
I'm cracking up at Fang.
yeah, I've got OU at 5.
I think Brady had OU at 6, but Fang, you could be correcting me wrong. You could be.
Yeah, Fang's here we go. Brady had OU
No,
at 6.
Brady has OU at 6. Yeah.
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 So I don't know. Do you feel like my vibe is on the right page about this non-con strength of schedule thing?
I do, because I think I mentioned that on Monday when we had the podcast, saying that it's really interesting. The teams that had the low non-conference strength of schedule or high non-conference are the teams, as in Texas, OU, and I just don't. I don't know. I don't think that that's going to be taken into account if the committee's actually watching games too. So we always harp on, is the committee watching games, and if you win those top 1 through 10 games, I think it's going to be a huge marker, and I can't see OU not being in that top 5. I really can't.
Yeah, barring catastrophe, I think OU in the top 5 makes sense. Number 6, who does Brady have? Oklahoma, yeah?
Oklahoma.
All right, this is where I've got Tennessee. And 5 top 10 wins, 13 top 25, only 14 top 50. There's one non-top 25 win in the top 50 of the RPI, which is always interesting to evaluate. But top 10 SOS, I think also there could be a little bit of a Carlin Pickens factor here that could help them.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't be factored in, but we're human, and there are no losses outside the top 25. So check. Tennessee, pretty good profile. Non-con SOS is fine. They should be a top 8. I have them pretty safely in.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, when is this nitty gritty updated from? Through that link that I just sent. It says through 3:30. You'd think they'd update it by then.
Oh yeah, you might be looking at an old one if it's March 30th.
Yeah, that makes more sense because the numbers you're spitting out, I'm like,
I'll put in the updated one.
Okay, yeah. That way, we can do that next week so everybody's looking at the same thing, because that link I just shared has different wins on it. So yeah, we've got Texas A&M, Texas, Florida agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gray's got South Carolina at the 4, and Brady's got Tennessee, and Gray's got OU at the 5, and Brady's got Florida State, and then Brady's got OU at 6, and Gray has Tennessee. Correct?
Correct.
Where do you have Florida State?
We'll get there.
Okay.
I know. It felt weird. It felt weird this morning where I was like, uh-oh, why are they low? Because number 7, I have UCLA. I've got the Bruins just ahead of Florida State, who I have at 8. I think if you compare their profiles, UCLA actually has more of the quality stuff. They have more top 10 wins. They have more top 25 wins. And because Louisville lost yesterday, they now have more top 50 wins than Florida State. So that sweep of Louisville suddenly went down outside the top 50 because the Cards lost for Florida State. So I do have UCLA at 7, Florida State at 8.
I think this is where you and Brady differ the most.
Definitely.
Brady has UCLA at 9.
Interesting.
So, outside of hosting a super. And I've got it, Fang. Thanks for that. I'm all updated. Fang, help me out here. We gotta get Fang here on our back end producing for us.
I know, right? I'll send him the link now. He can join us.
Fang Nye, just making it happen. Oh my goodness. So, is Brady on here? No, I don't see him.
No.
So we've got we're at 7, 6 or 7? 6.
7 UCLA, 8 Florida State. My burner is mad.
Yeah, crazy.
That's a common dirt listener, Grant Gray.
All right, so Brady's got OU at 6, South Carolina at 7, and Arkansas at 8. OU at 6, South Carolina at 7, and Arkansas at 8.
I have Arkansas at 9. So we can talk about the Hogs in a minute. I do want to say about Florida State, that can change very quickly if Louisville gets back into the top 50. You add those top 50 wins again, that gets you a lot closer to that major 20 margin. And with Virginia Tech coming up, that's a weekend where if you just win that series, you're going to get a bump because it'll be more top 25 wins, more top 50 wins, etc. So yes, a sweep of Virginia Tech would all but lock up, probably at worst like 6 for Florida State.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Arkansas? My number 9?
Yeah, let's go to Arkansas at number 9. I'm just looking. I've got the updated RPI up now. So if you guys are on the nitty-gritty report, like Fang said, you can go and check out the reports through games. And it's through the 22nd. So obviously last night. So that's completely updated. Yeah, fascinating. I feel like Florida State is going to be in that. If you just said all those things that happened, I think Florida State's going to be top 5 seed.
I think that's fair. I feel better about Florida State being a top 8 seed than I do about UCLA, even though I have UCLA higher.
Yeah, I agree.
But that we're doing this today. If we were doing this tomorrow, who knows how the data changes? It's kind of crazy. So
that's why we'll do it every week. I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
we'll
I like it.
Graphics up. We've got one graphic up. We should have started the show with this.
Number 2 overall seed. And yet the team that I would pick right now, if I were picking a national champion, is probably Texas. But not the number 1 seed. Why? Because this is weird. And this sport is crazy. And sometimes the process doesn't make sense. But that's how it goes. All right, Arkansas, so real quick.
We got our top 8, right?
Yeah, and I've got Arkansas at 9.
Do you have your seeds up? I thought there was a running tape. Or do you
I didn't want to spoil it. I wanted to wait until we got through them all.
Okay.
All right, Arkansas at 9. Who's Brady have at 9?
UCLA.
Okay. Yeah, I felt like there were a lot of similarities between the UCLA, Florida State, and Arkansas profiles. So I was looking, all right, where's the negative thing? And this is kind of where I could see non-conference SOS being a difference. Arkansas is significantly lower than UCLA's and Florida State's. And if those 3 are pretty even, that could be kind of the one differential, especially since as much as we hope that the committee just doesn't utilize the RPI as a Bible, Arkansas's is lower. Even though it's top 8, it's lower than UCLA's and Florida State's. That's why I had the Hogs at 9.
Yeah, so UCLA's non-con is 39. And Arkansas is 84, non-conference strength of schedule. And then who's the other team that you said?
And Florida State's is
9. Yeah, so we'll see. But then you take a look at Texas is 118, 187 for OU. and Tennessee's at 36. So it'd be really interesting to me. Like that is the thing that's going to stick out the most. Like, are they going to take into account the non-conference strength of schedule?
Right. And I'm kind of using it as like a tiebreaker here a little bit because I see so many similarities between the UCLA, Arkansas, and Florida State profiles. And also, we have to keep in mind something that we were talking about on our pod, on Out of the Box. Like, are there going to be 7 SEC top 8 seeds? Like, the numbers say that that's not crazy, but is that what the fans want? Is that what the committee wants? Do they want to balance it out? I don't know. If they do want to balance it out, then UCLA and Florida State are almost as good as locks right now.
Yeah, I mean, get out of my head. That's what I was just looking at right now as I'm looking at this in terms of what you're looking at if you're going to have conference, some sort of diversity, right? So
Yeah.
I think if the committee is looking at this saying we can't have top 8 seeds be all in the SEC, then both Florida State and UCLA have the resume to do it.
Number 10, who does Brady have?
Number 10, Brady has the LSU Tigers.
Nick Torina? I do too. LSU at 10. It's a fairly normal, not exceptional, but certainly not bad profile. Just they've done what they need to do. The 3 top 10 wins. You know, if you could get to that 10 RPI top 25 win mark soon, that would be great. Maybe add a few more top 50 wins, but overall, it's a fairly clean sheet. It's just not anything that pushes into the top 7, top 8 discussion right now. But I feel like the potential is there.
Yeah, so right now, number 5 in the RPI, LSU.
Right.
5 in the RPI.
But we have seen in the past, especially with LSU, high RPI numbers that do not necessarily lead to high seeding. You know, the committee has dinged LSU for stuff that frankly they haven't dinged other teams on in the past. How you finish has always been a criteria. Last year was the first time in 9 years I've ever heard it specifically cited by a committee chairperson to describe the seeding of a team. And if you're LSU, guess what? You got Florida and at Arkansas coming up. Those are 6 RPI top 10 win chances. So you could go from safely at 10, kind of pushing the top 8, to safely in the top 8 if you win those last 2 series.
Yeah, just it's crazy how pivotal these last 2 series can be for some teams. And that's what makes it so fun. And I think this is obviously, well, I know this is going to change, and so we'll go over it each week, and gosh, it's going to be really fun.
Let's see, what's next? Number 11?
Brady's got Alabama, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
As do I.
Wow, you guys are like, yeah, simpatico.
Now, I will say, I wasn't quite sure how to read into Alabama's RPI dropping 3 spots this morning. But after a win on the road against Alabama State, like there are reasons sometimes that these games are canceled late in the year, and Alabama played, and you know, good on them for honoring the commitment, but it hurt the profile. And the SOS went from 2 to 5 just by playing that game. That being said, they have hit the 10 RPI top 25 wins, 5 top 10 wins. Maybe you could use a little bit more cushion in the top 50. That's why the Missouri weekend coming up is so critical for Alabama. You know, we say, and we have the evidence to back up that the committee doesn't care about your record against some of these major metrics. Alabama 14 and 17 against the top 50. This could kind of put that thought to the test. So I feel like Alabama's safely in right now, but there are things that the committee could point to say, hey, they should be lower in the 14, 15, 16 range based on the team sheet if they do decide to switch things up this year.
Yeah, and obviously right now we're taking a look at what we're seeing right now at this point in time. Alabama with a 32 and 18 record. There's, you know, other than Auburn, closest to that similar record, right? I don't think anyone else in this top 20 has 18 losses.
No. But in fairness, Alabama had 19 losses a few years ago as the 5 seed. And they highlighted specifically the top 10 wins as a reason why they got that 5 seed. So, like, it's weird to not care about overall record when it's in a sport when winning is important, but that's kind of my
Isn't that
mindset.
wild?
It's weird.
Like, it's crazy to me. That's what stands out as I'm looking at, both yours and Brady's seedings. But when you take a look at it, like, actually, it doesn't mean you can lose 18 games and still host a regional.
And be fine.
That's
Head to head,
crazy.
who cares? Alabama lost to Arizona, who's my 12. Arizona's right behind. Arizona run ruled that game in week 1, and I was like, it was not a second thought putting Alabama at 11, Arizona at 12.
Yeah, and I just want to go back till we get to Arizona because Brady's got Arizona at 12 as well. I want to go back to
Okay.
playing teams late in the season and teams dropping, a mid-major team. Like, I have a problem with this because how are we supposed to then grow the game? And so these are big moments for mid-major programs. They're big moments to bring money in the door, to sell seats, to help promote the sport. So I feel like there's got to be a way that the committee takes this into account because it's really important for our sport to be able to do that. And so I just don't love the dropping games late in the season because it's going to impact your RPI. And I hope that there's a way that they can figure that out because I think the forefront and the core of all of our beings is how do we make our sport better and how do we allow it to grow. And if you're getting docked or you're getting punished for that, I don't think that's growing the game. So let me get off my soapbox. Arizona is the next on the seating.
Yeah, there's a lot to like here and a lot that's kind of bleh. Just the one top 10 win, 7 top 25 wins, 15 top 50. They feel safe. Arizona feels safe, but I don't know. There's danger lurking here.
So 12 in the RPI. They're 39-9 on the season. And non-conference strength of schedule is 27 as well. 25-2.
It's fine. It's a fine profile.
39-9. 25-2 out of conference. That Big 12 has just been a little bit wild this year. Who would have thought?
It's been a little sticky.
Yeah,
just
UCF, Iowa State, Texas Tech. It's just Oklahoma State.
and
Sticky is a good
the
word.
last series. Thank
It's
you.
a good word. It's really good.
I'll tell you where I got it later. So Arizona's got one last conference series. It is not this week. This week they play at San Diego State twice, which you know would be helpful. But the at Houston series just feels like a disaster potentially waiting to happen for Arizona because if you drop one of those games, they're outside the top 50, well outside the top 50 in the RPI. That could kind of teeter what seems like a solid profile, but has, like I said, a lot of danger lurking under the surface.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think we're going to see what if I can't wait to see what the committee this year weights more heavily. Like, what is it going to be, Gray? What is that one thing that we're going to hear them say when Holly Rowe interviews them?
I'm not 100% sure. I think a potential answer could be involving our number 13 or my number 13. Who does Brady have? Me too.
That was like a perfect segue.
There are
some. Like, I almost knew you needed that.
Yeah. Hey, we've worked together for how many years now? I do fear that some of these quad 4, aka outside the top 100 in the RPI losses, could be something that the committee really, really hammers this year, just because there are so many teams who kind of have a couple that have cropped up, and Duke's loss to Pitt is one that feels important because a lot of these teams who we've talked about don't have a loss quite like that on the sheet. Only 2 top 10 wins, 6 top 25 wins. That number's got to go up. And I don't have the Duke schedule in front of me. I'm not quite sure if the potential is there for it to go up. I need to look and see.
In the
and then
tournament.
15 top 50 wins. Yeah, ACC tournament, you could get a good draw and maybe get to play a Virginia Tech or a Florida State or a Stanford or something like that. But there are too many things outside the top 50 loss-wise that I don't love. And the last regular season series for Duke is at NC State. So that's danger time, man. I mean, you lose one there. That's a fifth loss outside the top 50 of the RPI.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the schedule. But for those of you that are listening, Duke's resume 34-14. And my big thing here with Duke is that non-conference strength of schedule at 2. Like, remember when Duke was just like in the thick of it, right? Like, is the committee going to reward Duke playing a tough schedule? It's the second toughest schedule in the country. Are they going to reward them?
Maybe. Who's to say? I mean, they have done that, but like you compare that to an Alabama who's won a lot of games, not more than they've lost against the top 10, but Duke is 2-8 against the top 10, and you isolate just those 2 wins. They're good wins, neutral site against UCLA, at Florida, but is that enough to kind of push them past Arizona, who's kind of been really solid? We'll see.
Nick Turina. I'm just going to put this up because it's hysterical. So, is it Apple goggles out there? Like, they're Oculus goggles. So the Torinas have these goggles, and you can watch like 2 or 3 games at the same time. Like, I posted this photo of me in these funny goggles. It is the coolest thing ever. And like, you're like in the computer. In Zoolander, we goes, we're in the computer. You actually feel like you're in the computer. Anyway, so these Oculus goggles, and you watch like a couple games at the same time, or a game will be like up on the ceiling and you can still do a podcast. It's the coolest thing ever. We should do a selection show.
Nick,
you need to see these goggles. Anyways,
Nick, bring him to Athens.
Duke plays North Carolina, or NC State to finish out.
Yeah.
So they'll need to play somebody in that ACC championship to get to Duke. But yes, I agree. We could totally do that, Nick.
Number 14 for Brady is who?
He's got Clemson.
Me too. I had Clemson lower. I had Clemson at 16, and then they beat Tennessee last night. Their RPI shot up. Their KPI shot up. They've got that second RPI top 10 win, 7 top 25, 15 top 50. There is the bad loss to Boston College that they got less than a week ago, but I love the quality wins. South Carolina at Tennessee. They beat Duke once, which, again, this isn't baseball. They don't care about the series. They care about the wins. Winning one against Duke does more good than the harm of losing 2 to Duke. They won the series at Stanford. They've beaten Georgia. I think this Clemson profile is pretty good.
Yeah, and again, I know Brady did this before that win last night, so Brady was pretty high on Clemson before beating Tennessee, but a good resume. And if you would have said that Clemson would be hosting the beginning of the season, do you think people would have looked at you like you were crazy? Yes.
I think after Clearwater, for sure.
Yes. But gosh,
I had concerns.
Yeah, basically, you're coming in there and they're really being the ace. And I think for a very young program, just really, really impressed with Clemson and how they're finishing. And Brady, same thing at the 14th seed. All right, on to 15 seed. Who you got?
Oregon.
Brady's got Texas Tech. Well, I knew you were going to do that.
Can we hold the Texas Tech conversation? Because I had them in the discussion for 16-17.
Okay.
So I want to talk about that first in a minute.
Give the
all right, Oregon.
The records.
Does Brady have Oregon in?
16. She's
okay.
I just called she. She's got them in 16.
Brady is slaying. Oregon is 41-5. RPI at 15. The issue here is the SOS, 68 overall, 156 non-con. But against the top 10, 5 wins. Now, those are also all the wins against the RPI top 25. So how does the committee weigh that? We'll see. 14 top 50 wins. There are some outside the top 100 losses to LMU and Oregon State. But the good wins, man, they're good. Florida State twice, UCLA twice, Tennessee at a neutral site. That's all very, very good. So I do have Oregon at 15. And yes, Roach, I see you. And yes, we do know that on occasion, the committee does like to, what Tom and I call, manufacture a matchup for supers. I know they don't look forward, but we kind of predicted all of them.
They totally do.
Yeah, I mean, there was a reason we all had Texas Tech, or I should say Texas Texas A&M last year. Even though I thought A&M's profile was a little bit better than Florida State's, we were like, this is an easy one. They're going to make that a super. And sure enough, they did. So, yeah, I think Oregon, Texas is highly, highly likely if the numbers align, if they're close.
So for me, the biggest thing I'm going to watch, and I know I keep saying this, but Oregon, Texas, Oklahoma, they should all be treated the same.
I agree. I kind of think they will be. I think Oregon being in at all is them being treated the same way as OU and Texas.
Correct.
In my mind.
We're going to see if that happens or not. But that's the one thing, and I don't know why this is the one thing I'm looking for, but that's the one thing to see if the committee treats those three teams the same.
And I want to address this real quick. If Tennessee wasn't one, would it have mattered for Clemson like it did? Our ranking, and ESPN, I think, also had Tennessee at number 1. That means nothing for this. The reason it mattered for Clemson like it did was because even though Tennessee lost, they stayed in the top 10 of the RPI. If they drop out, then it loses a little significance. So Clemson, you are now pulling for Tennessee to win the rest of their games. That's the thing a lot of fans forget is when you beat a team, you then want every other game that they play for them to win. So at those, like we were explaining on the broadcast last night, why it was so important for Georgia to beat Georgia Tech, because Georgia, those are 2 big RPI top 25 wins for Alabama that need to stay in the top 25. So you're hoping that some of these teams who your team has beaten can stay within some of these major metrics.
Correct. Brady has graced us with his presence.
Oh, hi, Brady. Brady's bracket also projects conference tournament. Oh, interesting. I do not do that.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Brady. Brady's got some insight. Conference tournament.
If you need to... I knew it. He's taking his vacay. I hope there's a beverage there for you, pal. You deserve it, man.
Yes. Oh, I love it. He's still working. I mean, the guy works 24/7, so.
And you know what? I like his timing because I'm ready to talk about this 16-17 debate. Hi, James.
Oh, super chat.
Well, real quick. Florida State at 8 for me. Where did Brady have Florida State? 5?
Yes, 5.
I also want to point out a quick pattern. The last 3 years, the 5 seed has been something that has made watchers and fans and media be like, whoa, them? So that was another reason why I had OU at 5, because that would kind of send a message potentially about the rest of the bracket and what the committee's looking at. So it's happened multiple seasons in a row now where the 5 seed is kind of where things are like.
Thanks for the super chat, James. We're going to get great at Chili's maybe on our next bracket packet.
Do it from Chili's?
Yeah. What is it?
I feel God in this Chili's.
Do they have the dip duo there? With the queso?
I believe based on the comments of our past dirt episodes, which by the way, Nicole and I are dirting tonight at, I believe, 9 Central. Tune in live. It's called a triple dipper.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Triple dipper. I don't know. Anyways, maybe we'll go to Chili's. We're just trying to get a podcast sponsor.
Olive Garden bailed. I know. I was all about those breadsticks.
Soup, salad, and breadsticks. It used to be $3.82 or something. Or our friends in high school, she worked there, so we would go get soup, salad, and breadsticks, and the bill would be $3.82.
Everybody was going crazy about the breadsticks. I much preferred the salad.
So healthy.
Maybe it's just me.
Super healthy. All right, we got 15 and 16.
Okay.
Any other questions? Did we get to? We get Texas Tech.
Yeah. So I've got Oklahoma State at 16, Texas Tech first out at 17. Brady has Texas Tech at 15, and Oklahoma State out, right?
Yeah.
So let me explain the process real quick. I print out all 11 pages of the bracket packet and then lay them out on my kitchen counter, and I stare at them and move around the kitchen and start to write numbers. And I stared for a very long time this morning at the page that has Texas Tech and the page that has Oklahoma State. And I just feel better about Oklahoma State's profile.
Why?
SOS is better. Non-con SOS is significantly better. Same number of top 10 wins. Texas Tech does have one more top 25 win, but Oklahoma State has more top 50. Texas Tech has a worse loss than anything that Oklahoma State has, and Oklahoma State has better wins, including a win against Texas Tech. Texas Tech won that series, but
I mean,
right now
tonight is kind of a big game, right? Texas, Oklahoma State.
That's another chance. Again, overall record doesn't matter. 27-15 is kind of blah, but the committee doesn't care.
Yeah, so got a shot tonight against Texas. Then they'll play Kansas, North Texas, and they finish with Utah, Oklahoma State.
I just right now I had Oklahoma State at 16, Texas Tech at 17, which is crazy because, again, Texas Tech won that series. But head-to-head, back in the day, I used to say head-to-head has to matter, and the committee said, no, it doesn't. So I have learned not to care.
Well, that's great. That's what you call growth.
It's evolving. I'm evolving. I'm evolving as a human man.
I love that. So Brady's got Texas Tech at 15 and Oregon at 16. I don't know if he still's got that because he's currently on the beach. But somebody was asking about Nebraska. Where do you have Nebraska going, Brady?
All right, let me first pop up. In case you're just joining us, my picks are on the bottom now. I will also say before... Oh, where does Brady have Nebraska
Texas.
going?
2-seeded Texas.
Okay. I just want to say, I said this on Out of the Box this week, Nebraska, I am watching. The profile keeps getting better. We have seen in the past teams like Utah go on runs at the very end of the year to sneak into the top 16. Nebraska feels like a candidate for that if they keep winning. So Nebraska, I am watching. That's where I stand. I don't think it'll happen, but that feels like a possibility.
Yeah, we'll do more of these tickers. They're kind of fun. So that means if you join late, you can see kind of what we've been talking about. But I agree with you, Fang. I think Tech is going to get a Nija bump, and I do think that they're also going to get a Big 12 bump. I agree with you.
Maybe.
This is Brady. Projected auto bids and projected added quad 2 wins. What is the difference?
I think if Texas Tech is going to get a Big 12 bump, it is because of what Brady said, which would be winning the Big 12 tournament, and not because again the regular season titles, like they've shown that that's not something that the committee cares about. So I think it would behoove Texas Tech a good bit if they could find a way to meet up with Oklahoma State in the Big 12 tournament and win that game, and kind of truly have the edge in the season.
So on the bubble, we've got Texas Tech, Oregon, Oklahoma State, and
I have Virginia Tech, Ole Miss, and Stanford just out as well.
So keep an eye on
here we go.
those.
Rennie, Ole Miss is in the mix, y'all. I was a little surprised when I was putting the bracket together this week, and I was like, oh, Rebels are closer than I thought.
Tennessee this weekend.
I've got them in 19. Tennessee this weekend. They've got after that they've got another RPI top 10 win possibility. I can't remember who it is. I'll pull it up. But Ole Miss is sitting right there. And if they were to close with 6 or 7 RPI top 10 wins, how do you not?
Wild. What a fun, just talking about this. Oh, this is going to be so fun. And we're going to do a show, you guys. We'll do a selection show recap after, ESPN announces it. So we're either going to do it Saturday or Sunday night or Monday morning. So let us know which you guys would like better or both.
And I lied. I beg your pardon. They've got the 3 top 10 chances against Tennessee, and then at Mississippi State is the closing series. But that's top 25 wins. So Ole Miss is in the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will do a show after to break this all down for you all. So hopefully we can do something on Sunday night and then Monday.
Grant asks, who do you have coming to Florida State?
Let's see.
Who's Brady have? This feels like Auburn to me.
UCF, USF, and Binghamton.
Oh.
Great facts.
So they would send Auburn to Clemson.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Which would be tough.
James, my man, I don't know. He said the committee is wrong. Head-to-head matters. How could you just block that out? I was on the train, y'all. If you listen to season 1 of the Out of the Box podcast, and we did bracketology, I was like the whole time, head-to-head has to matter. Head-to-head has to matter, and that was the football brain. That was the football brain. That I've had to kind of dissipate away from this process. Basketball, it's always interesting to watch the bracketing principles for men's and women's basketball. That committee cares somehow less about head to head than softball does. So that's kind of more where you have to look. And Fang, could Mississippi State and Ole Miss series matter for last host? I don't think Mississippi State's going to get it unless they like sweep out. And even then, just some of the bad losses are going to really, really hamper them. It's tough because that's a good team. They're going to be a brutal 2 seed for somebody, but I don't think it's going to happen this year.
So many questions. You guys, I put the link to the bracketology, and I'm going to put it back up here again. So there's loads of questions. You can't get to all of them, but there's a link to the bracketology. And then next week we'll have Gray's bracket packet up, which is really cool because I've got it here on my phone. You can take a look at what we're looking at. So I think that would be a fun exercise. If you're forced to choose which you could see not making it out of regionals. South Carolina.
Who's the 2 for Brady at South Carolina?
Virginia and San Diego State. I think that's a little spicy.
Ooh.
That's a little spicy.
Coach Harden, let's go. Who's?
Actually, I mean, if we're going by Brady's, like Arkansas would have Oklahoma State and North Carolina.
It's tricky. If we're going by mine, I think my answer, everyone, please, it's Oklahoma. If Texas Tech is the 2 seed there. Are you kidding me? Nyjah? I've watched OU in person now. I think the blueprint is there for how to beat them, and I think Nyjah has the capability to utilize that blueprint. Yeah. So as crazy as it sounds, if Texas Tech isn't hosting, I think the answer might be Oklahoma because Texas Tech would either go to Austin or Norman, and I think they would probably send them to the lower seeded of those 2 options.
Yeah, I think if Texas Tech is the 2 seed at OU, I think that's an easy one. And then I also think if we're going by Brady's bracket, I do think Arkansas, Oklahoma State would be interesting. And I do think South Carolina, Virginia, San Diego State. Remember San Diego State was hot at the beginning, right? Coming out of Clearwater. So it could be one of those things where you're high and then kind of a little dip and then you bring it back up. Sometimes when you go through loads of adversity, it just brings you back up to make you a bit stronger. So between those 3, we're going to give you guys 3. We're going to give you OU, South Carolina, and Arkansas.
I think that's about right. Any other questions? Please send in questions. I've put out mine. Brady's put out his. I only do 16. Brady is much better at utilizing his time and does much more work on the 400-mile radius thing. I just do the seeding because that's the part that I've studied and understand. Why wouldn't Texas Tech go to A&M or Texas? They could go to Texas. A&M is 430 miles away. So just a little bit outside the radius.
Well, Brady's got another comment. Texas, he's got LAU, Nebraska, and Arizona State. It's a tough one as well.
Arizona State is a 2/3 that would stress me out if I were having to prepare for them.
Prep for Kinsey Brown. I just still think, and obviously a Jordy Ball, Nebraska, that's pretty spicy too. So we'll give you guys 4. 4 of the 8.
I think that's a tough regional. I don't think Texas will have any issues getting out of it.
Yeah, but Brady thinks that's a tough one.
if Oregon isn't hosting, where do they go? This is the other issue that you run into is you got more West Coast 2 seeds than you have West Coast hosts. I think Oregon's going to be fine, but a team like Stanford is a tough one to me. Does Stanford go to UCLA?
Good. You got my Pac-12 brain was like, no, they can't do that. They can.
What do you
They can't do
mean?
that. Absolutely, they can go to UCLA. Yeah, there's not. I mean, that's going to be tough for TV if Oregon doesn't host because there's not going to be any really. Well, we've got Arizona on the West Coast, and you got UCLA.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Maybe,
it. End of list.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty normal for each year, but those will be those specific time slots with UCLA and Arizona.
Fang's question. Brady said if OU goes 2-4 against Florida or Texas, they can get top 8. What is your thought on what they need to do next 2 weeks to secure it? All right, let me look. And so that would be 9 top 10 wins if they went 2-4. I think I feel pretty good about OU as the top 8 now. Even if they lose out, even if they got swept there, that would make them 7-8 against the RPI top 10. That would still be probably the second or third most RPI top 10 wins. The one thing that would hurt them would be the how you finish. But again, I don't think the committee, I don't know, like we haven't seen that all that much. We've seen it once.
Yeah, Grant Gray, is this your burner account? Oregon goes to Arizona and Stanford to UCLA. Could be potential.
Hey, James loves the glasses,
thanks,
Tara.
James. Oh, thanks. Thanks. A little tint. Got blue, what is that called? Blue, gray? Reflection for the...
Oh.
That's why sometimes they get a little crazy because they've got the blue light protector. Thanks, James.
Do you want to talk through this one from Ron, the distance limitations for regionals?
400 miles. Yes. Thank you. 400 miles driving, which sometimes they care about it and sometimes they don't, Gray. Right? Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. 401 and above is a flight. Correct.
It's true.
So 400 miles you could drive to get to a regional, and then after that they're going on a plane, just trying to keep costs down, so keeping it as regional as possible. But I remember them sending, I think it was San Diego State to Arizona State one year, and then sending GCU to UCLA one year. Like this, making no sense. So, but it is 400 miles to save money.
See if there's anything else that people have been asking. Rank your 2 seeds. I think the committee should, but I have not. So sorry, Oscar. I would need another hour at least to get everything sorted together. Arizona State going to UCLA.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing about all this is it's going to change daily. Like I said, like I told Tara this morning, and like I said at the top of the show, the list that I had going into last night is much different than the one that I have going into today because of totally innocuous results.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky beating Louisville completely changed where Florida State was, and that's how this works. That's why it's hard to answer that Fang question, because like I don't really know. You know, what happens to your team could be determined by what happens in a totally separate game across the country.
I love this. Brady, thanks. San Diego State is 399 miles to Arizona. Is that true? But this is what I was talking about this year. Fullerton.
As the crow flies?
Fullerton went to ASU and GCU went to UCLA. That's the year I was talking about. So, yes, they do care about it.
Was that the year?
Also, then all of a sudden, exact official miles calculator. I love it. Oh my gosh. So fun. Okay.
Let's see.
Any final thoughts? Oh, does Iowa State What are they in the RPI now?
They are 53.
It's going to be really tough with all those auto bids.
I'm not sure both Iowa and Iowa State can make it. So I think if one of them makes it, then the other doesn't. And I think there's a greater chance that neither makes it than one does. As it stands right now, I'm pulling up the schedules to see who they have left.
Iowa State or Iowa?
Both. Iowa State has at Utah. Don't lose those games. And Baylor at home. Iowa closes with Iowa State. So Iowa State also has Iowa. And then Iowa's got at Michigan State and Rutgers at home. That's not going to help at all.
Oh, man. We should have the chat up. I don't know why it's not. Very low.
I like this question. We can kind of close with this maybe. Any team stick out that you'd hate to see in a regional? This is from Rebecca. Excited to see who the next Southeastern Louisiana or Middle Tennessee is. Both teams who came to Tuscaloosa, by the way. So I got to see them very, very, very up close and personal.
Who do you not want to see in a regional?
Can I shout out Coastal Carolina?
Yes, my favorite, the Giants. Yes, go.
Yeah, Nicolette Picone. Good little lefty. Good drop ball. Beat South Carolina already this year. Nevada.
Yes.
Is another team that I wouldn't really want to see. And I will throw out P4 wise some love for North Carolina. Mm-hmm. North Carolina, I don't think they're going to go in and win a regional, but they're going to make it really, really hard for you to win a regional because of that offense and Kat Rodriguez and kind of what that team is capable of. I don't think their pitching is going to get them to a spot where they can make a super this year, but they can slug with some teams.
Yeah. We've got some, I agree with Fang. Virginia Tech is going to be a really dangerous 2 seed. Absolutely. They're always going to be dangerous. And we've got some other stuff out here. Ohio State, yes.
Belmont, I see Jordan. Belmont, Maya Johnson, great pitcher. She's walked like 16 people this year. It's crazy.
Yep, UNF.
Probably be a 3 seed. Yep, Brady agrees.
So, she's asked about 2 seeds? Or they just thought it was any team?
I think it's any team.
Yeah, I'm with you on Coastal. I've been on Coastal Carolina, Delaney Keith, Georgia Hood. I think they're tough if Bicone can get going from the left side and then have some offense that supports them. They're going to give some people some trouble. And how about Vic Hayward? What a job at Nevada, first season there. Wild. Absolutely wild. Great stuff. Cool.
We're nearing an hour. Any last questions? This is the final call for any bracketing or NCAA tournament questions. We'll do this again next week, I guess.
Yes, right?
We might have to do it Tuesday because I will be traveling to Columbia, South Carolina on Wednesday, but we might have to do it Tuesday.
Okay. Well, and then you guys can let us know. Do you want us to print the packet out so you can actually look at what we're looking at? And obviously, we sent the bracketology link that Brady has put together. You guys let us know what's best for you, and we'll try and make it happen. Cool.
I think that might be it from the people.
That's it. Cool. Exciting. Happy Wednesday. Big game tonight. Couple big games. Oh, by the way, you guys, we have a scoreboard up. I mean, I can't believe we didn't even talk about this. I know we're still working through some things, but hats off to Warren Nolan hooking it up. And so really cool because you can go on there and see runs per inning. You can look at win probability, and it's all in one place. And we know that there's been yesterday the score flipped to obviously show today's games, but we're working on it. But hopefully you guys like it, and it's up on the site. So head on over to on3.com/softball and click on scores and bookmark that page. So hopefully you guys like it. And we've got another cool thing in the works too. So Brady and I just got off a really fun call. So we'll be bringing you guys some more really cool tools and things that would just hopefully make just every single day more exciting. That's all I can say.
Look, let's rock and roll. Bracket packet.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm still reading the
I
chat.
see that.
Yeah, because Rennie, I'm kind of with you on Florida State. It's another team that they would love for Duke to surpass Tennessee, slip back into the top 10. That would be helpful. That immediately makes Florida State like a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for Bracket Packet Q&A.
That's fun.
April 23rd edition.
We're going to get better, guys. We'll have some graphics maybe, but hopefully you enjoyed it. And let us know in the comments. Make sure that you like the YouTube channel, subscribe, and appreciate each and every one of you being here to hang out with us on a Wednesday.
Hey, and come hang out with Nicole and me tonight at 9 Central on The Dirt Live.
What a day.
We're mailbagging, so send in your questions, and it doesn't have to be softball related. Please send us anything.
We need a ticker on The Dirt tonight.
Well, we have one, but it's kind of a joke one. Oh. I can put it up. Here you go.
Love it.
Also, this one.
Diva
Hashtag
down.
Diva Down.
That's
another dirt joke.
All
right. That's all we got for the Bracket Packet Q&A. For the great Tara Henry, I'm Gray Robertson. Thank you for joining us. We'll do this again next week, probably Tuesday. But mark your calendars once we put out an official statement, and we'll see you then on the Softball America Podcast Network, wherever we are. Goodbye.